Imagine this. You're sitting at home when suddenly disaster strikes. It's a scenario that none of us want to face, but sometimes it's unavoidable. When disaster comes knocking at your door, having a bug-out plan can be the difference between life and death. It's not about fear, it's about being smart, being prepared, and understanding that sometimes bugging out is your only option. It's a last resort, but if you're forced to evacuate, knowing where you're going and how to survive once you get there can mean everything. This isn't about running away, it's about taking control, making the right choices, and ensuring your survival and the survival of those you care about. Bugging out is about being proactive, not reactive. In this video, we'll guide you through the critical steps for a successful bug out, because when it comes down to it, your life might just depend on it. Your bug out location is one of the most critical decisions you'll make. When it comes to choosing this spot, there are a few key factors to keep in mind. First, consider the accessibility of the location. It needs to be remote enough to offer safety from potential threats, but not so remote that you can't reach it when the need arises. Avoid main roads and heavily populated areas. Instead, opt for an area that's easily accessible by foot or vehicle, but still offers a degree of isolation. Next, think about the natural resources available in the area. This includes access to fresh water, firewood, and edible plants. Without these essentials, survival becomes a lot harder. A reliable water source like a stream, lake, or spring is non-negotiable. Likewise, an abundance of firewood will keep you warm and allow you to cook food, while edible plants can supplement your food supplies. The terrain of your bug-out location also plays a crucial role. Elevated areas provide better visibility and protection from threats. They also offer a vantage point to spot any incoming danger. But be careful not to choose a location that's too exposed, as this could leave you vulnerable to harsh weather conditions. If you're considering a forest area, try to get into the thick of it. Dense forests are great for hiding and offer numerous shelter options. However, you should also be aware of the potential risks, such as wildfires or dangerous wildlife. Lastly, think about the security and concealment of the location. Natural barriers like cliffs, dense forests, and hills can offer a level of protection. But you also want to avoid areas that are too close to main highways or places where desperate people may gather. Remember, choosing your bug-out location isn't a decision to be taken lightly. This is the place where you'll be making your stand, where you'll be facing the challenges that come with survival. The wrong choice could put you and your loved ones in danger, so take your time and choose wisely. Choosing wisely can mean the difference between survival and disaster. Water is life, and shelter is safety. These are the cornerstones of survival when you're bugging out. Let's talk about water first. A reliable water source is non-negotiable while choosing your bug-out location. Look for streams, lakes, or springs nearby. But don't just rely on these sources. Carry portable water filters and purification tablets. In a pinch, you'll also need to know how to collect rainwater and purify it using simple methods. Because when it comes to water, you can't afford to be caught unprepared. Now let's turn our attention to shelter. A good bug-out camp should be at least 30 to 50 miles from populated areas. This distance gives you a buffer from the chaos that might be unfolding in urban zones. But don't stray too far into extreme climates. Harsh winters and drought-prone areas can be just as deadly as the disaster you're trying to escape. Consider the resources around you. Wood for fires, wild game for food, fishing opportunities, and edible plants can all make your survival journey a bit easier. The terrain is also important. You'd want to stay above flood zones, but not in areas that are exposed and vulnerable to strong winds. And finally, let's talk about the elevation of your bug-out camp. Higher elevations provide visibility, giving you a tactical advantage. But remember, they can also expose you to the elements. So, strike a balance. Find a spot that offers protection, but also keeps you hidden. Preparing for a bug-out scenario isn't about imagining a cozy camping trip. It's about planning for the harshest conditions and making strategic decisions that increase your chances of survival. Your bug-out location, its proximity to water, and the shelter it offers are all critical factors in this equation. Remember, your survival hinges on water and shelter, so plan wisely and gear up for the unexpected. What you carry can make or break your survival. The contents of your bug-out bag are your lifeline when disaster strikes, and every item should earn its place. Let's delve into the essentials. First and foremost, think lightweight and versatile. Every item in your bag should serve multiple purposes, saving you weight and space. It's a survival situation, not a camping trip, so leave the luxuries at home. Fire-starting tools are non-negotiable. Waterproof matches, lighters, and fire steel should all be included. Fire not only provides warmth and a means to cook food, but it can also be a psychological boost, reminding you that you have the power to survive. Shelter is critical. The elements can be as deadly as any predator, so be prepared. A tarp, bivy sack, or compact tent can mean the difference between life and death. Remember, your shelter should be easy to set up and take down, as you may need to move quickly. Food is fuel. High-calorie options like dehydrated meals, protein bars, and nuts are ideal. They're lightweight, store well, and provide the energy you need to keep moving. Remember, in a survival situation, it's about calories, not gourmet dining. Water purification methods are essential. A portable water filter and purification tablets can turn a questionable water source into a lifesaver. Be sure to familiarize yourself with their use before you need them. A good knife is a must-have. It can be used for everything from preparing food to building shelter and self-defense. Choose a high-quality, durable option. Finally, a first aid kit. This should include bandages, antiseptic wipes, pain relievers, and any necessary prescription medications. In a survival situation, a small injury can become a big problem fast, so be prepared. These are just the basics. Your personal needs may require additional items. The key is to pack smart. Think about what you need to survive, not what you want for comfort. Pack smart, and you'll be prepared for anything. Getting to your bug-out location is a journey, not a sprint. As you prepare for this potential trek, navigation and travel strategy are crucial. You might be thinking, I'll just use my GPS. But in a real survival situation, satellites might be down, and your trusty smartphone could be rendered useless. That's why it's vital to carry detailed topographic maps of your bug-out route and learn how to use a compass. It's old school, but it works. Planning your journey also involves considering multiple escape routes. Roads or trails may be blocked or potentially unsafe. Having a plan B, C, and even D ensures you can adapt on the fly. Remember, flexibility is a survival trait. Traveling light is another essential aspect of your bug-out strategy. Your pack's weight should be no more than 20 to 25% of your body weight. It might sound restrictive, but every extra pound can slow you down and exhaust you faster. Now, traveling light doesn't mean leaving behind crucial gear. It means choosing lightweight and versatile items that can serve multiple purposes. And don't forget about your feet. Quality hiking boots are just as important as the gear in your bag. They're your primary mode of transportation after all. While packing, consider the balance between speed and stealth. In a survival scenario, drawing attention to yourself can be dangerous. Move carefully, use natural cover, and avoid making unnecessary noise. And finally, don't underestimate the importance of rest. Pushing yourself too hard can lead to exhaustion and mistakes. Plan your pace, take regular breaks to hydrate and eat, and if possible, travel during the cooler parts of the day to conserve energy. Remember, it's not just about reaching your destination, but surviving the journey. Preparation, planning, and smart travel strategies are your keys to successfully bugging out. So, map your routes, pack wisely, and stay ready. In a survival situation, your health and safety are paramount. Imagine this, you've made it to your bug-out location, you have shelter, food, and water, but what happens if you injure yourself or if you encounter a threat? That's where first aid and self-defense come into play. First aid is non-negotiable. Your bug-out bag should include a fully stocked medical kit. This isn't just Band-Aids and antiseptic, folks. We're talking trauma supplies, antibiotics, and pain relievers. Remember, in a survival scenario, you can't just dial 911. You'll need to handle medical emergencies by yourself, at least until help arrives, which could be days or even weeks away. If you're bugging out with family, be sure to have personalized medical supplies for each member. Each person's needs may differ, so plan accordingly. But first aid isn't just about having the right supplies. You need to know how to use them. Learn basic wound care. Understand how to treat burns, fractures, and bites. Get trained in CPR. These skills could literally save your life or the life of someone you care about. Now let's talk self-defense. In a survival situation, threats can come from anywhere. Wild animals, desperate people, you name it. That's why carrying a reliable firearm or self-defense weapon is crucial. But remember, the goal is to survive, not to engage in combat. Concealment is key here. Avoid drawing attention to your movements. If possible, learn silent defense techniques. Not every threat requires making noise. Sometimes the best defense is to remain unseen, to avoid conflict altogether. In the end, your survival hinges on being prepared. First aid and self-defense are two critical aspects of that preparedness. Whether it's treating a cut, setting a broken bone, or defending yourself from a threat, these skills can mean the difference between life and death. So get equipped, get trained, and get ready. You never know when you'll need to put these skills to use. Even the best laid plans can go awry. It's a universal truth that hitches happen. And when it comes to survival, one must be ready to adapt. That's where a backup bug-out plan comes into play. It's not just about having an alternative route or a secondary location, but about being mentally prepared to shift gears when the situation demands it. Rehearse your bug-out plan, and then rehearse your backup. Know your routes like the back of your hand, understand the terrain, and anticipate potential challenges. Store emergency caches along your path. These could be lifesavers if your primary supplies run out. And remember, if you're traveling with others, a rendezvous point is crucial. Should you get separated, this will be your meeting spot. Keep these points in mind, and design your backup plan with as much care as your primary one. Always have a plan B, because in survival, there are no second chances. Bugging out is a serious business. It's about survival, not a recreational getaway. We've walked through the essentials of bugging out, from selecting a location that's remote yet accessible, with natural resources and a terrain advantage, to the importance of water and shelter. We've discussed the critical items your bug-out bag should contain, and how to navigate without relying solely on GPS. We've emphasized the importance of traveling light yet smart, and the non-negotiable necessity of a first aid kit. We've touched on the need for self-defense and firepower, and the wisdom of having a backup bug-out plan. This might seem overwhelming, but remember, preparation can mean the difference between life and death. Start planning now. Map out your bug-out route, decide on your location, and start packing your bug-out bag. Remember, preparation today can mean survival tomorrow.